Hello everybody, it's Leah Moore, founder of Full Circle Eventi and the Ignite Your I Do Virtual Wedding Planning Summit. Thanks again for joining us on the Ignite Your I Do Virtual Wedding Planning Summit, where we're bringing together for the very first time wedding industry innovators to help you plan the wedding of your dreams from the comfort of your own home. We know that brides don't have the know-how to find the information that they need to really get the weddings of their dreams. And they don't have time to attend bridal show after bridal show to find just the right vendors. And they certainly don't have the time or know-how to really know how to get what they want, to have fun and enjoy their weddings all at the same time. Let's face it, you've never done this before. The internet is chock full of resources and ideas that leave your head spinning. It's hard to weed through the good and the bad to pull together the wedding that you really want. That's why we're bringing you 4 free trainings a day over a 3-day weekend, showing you the nuts and bolts, the how-to, and the trade secrets to help you find the perfect vendors, the perfect decor, the perfect balance between planning and living your real life. This all-intensive 3-day training will culminate each evening in a live Q&A session with these industry experts. We definitely recommend attending each of the scheduled sessions and the live Q&A so that you can get your questions answered. But don't worry if you can't make it every day. We've put together the Ignite Your I Do swag bag so you don't miss a thing. You'll have lifetime access to all of the recordings and trainings, including the downloadable audios, handouts, videos, and transcriptions so that you can refer back to them as a roadmap to planning your own wedding day. Scroll down below this video and you'll see the Add to Cart button. Grab your swag bag today and you'll get the special in-summit pricing of $197, which is an instant $100 off the regular price. So I know that you are going to completely fall in love with our wedding industry innovators, and not just because they're experts in their field or planned million-dollar weddings, but because they're absolutely committed to giving you all the information, keys, and tools that will help you create the wedding day that you've always dreamed it could be. And since we're about everything digital, we have $2,500 in prizes to give away as well, including a tablet with free digital wedding planning books and programs that are hand-selected by our experts, as well as live consultation sessions and to help you plan your wedding during the time. So head over to fullcircleeventi.com/enter and enter your name and email address and start inviting your friends. You get a point for every friend that you refer to the summit through email and social media. And of course, you get to share valuable free training with them too. So we'll be announcing the contest winner live on Sunday, May 11th during the live Q&A presentation. You do have to be on the call to win, so go over to fullcircleeventi.com/enter and enter for your chance. So before I introduce you to our wedding industry innovator today, I want to let you know how you can interact and ask your question. We've installed the live chat box to the right of this video. Just log in with Twitter, Facebook, Google, or any other social media option and start commenting, asking your questions. One of our moderators will be interacting and keeping track of your questions so that we can answer them during the live Q&A session. We also have a social share box above the video, and I ask that you take a few seconds now to like this page. Share it across Facebook and Google Plus and Twitter so that we can really grow an amazing community of brides who need help creating their dream weddings just like you. This is the first virtual wedding planning training of its kind, and we have plans to do at least one more this year. So you're going to want to stay tuned and connected to us via social media. I've shared the social media links in the chat and also below this video. We'll have more free trainings and offerings for you throughout the course of the year, so you'll definitely want to stay tuned and share the information with a friend. So now for the main attraction. Merle Greenidge is the owner of Celebrate Sweetly, a gift concierge and event design company in Thousand Oaks, California. She creates custom gifts for corporations and individuals for all occasions. It's important to add a personal touch and to give thoughtful gifts. People can tell whether you just grabbed the first thing off the shelf or whether you took some time to actually think of them and what their likes might be. Her background, sociology, hospitality, and hotel and restaurant management, have become the perfect combination for her in her business, which demands a consistent and genuine desire to work with a diverse group of people and their needs. She loves being able to do 2 things that she's passionate about: helping people and creating beautiful experiences with her gifts and her event design. She's a very good listener, and if I were you, I'd pay attention to her because she's the one who pays very close attention to what your clients are going to need. Myrlie is a national award-winning gift designer, and recently one of her weddings was featured in The Knot. Myrlie lives in Thousand Oaks, California with her husband and 3 daughters. When she's not creating gifts designs or orchestrating a wedding or a social event, Myrlie can be found in the kitchen creating gourmet meals, spending time with her family, and she's always making time for dance. Myrlie is a member of Greater Conejo Chamber of Commerce. I know I'm going to say that one wrong, so if I did, I butchered it again. Ventura Better Business Bureau, Synergy Conejo, Community of Wedding Innovators, COWI is what some of us know it as, and the Event Planners Association. Oh my Lord, you are a busy girl. Welcome, Marley.
Oh, thank you, Lee. I'm thrilled to be here with you today.
Oh my gosh, I really wish I was a better reader at times so that I could get through all of that much better. But I am so glad that you actually found time that you were able to sit down with us and talk to our brides about something that is always the last thing on their list to do, which is find gifts. And it's really, you really hit it on the head right away when you said people can tell when you wait till the last minute to pick out a gift, or if you really took the time to pick a gift that means something to them and or to you to be sharing. So tell me, what is it about your services that really helps a bride to even kick off her thinking? And let me back up.
Yes.
Let's start at the beginning. When should she start thinking about her gifts? Let's start with that.
Well, let's start with talking about why wedding favors for at all. Where did this tradition come from and why do we do this? So this dates back to the 16th century. And it was really exclusive to European aristocrats at the time. And they gave away little gifts that were called bonbonnières, which was a little box which was either porcelain or crystal, and it was filled with sugar cubes or delicate confectionaries. And you have to understand that sugar was a very expensive commodity at the time, so this was a real expression of their wealth and royalty. So that then evolved later on to the almonds, which is still a long-standing tradition today. And it's the gift of the 5 almonds, which really represented our hopes and our wishes for the new family and the new couple. And those 5 wishes and hopes are wealth, health, longevity, fertility, and happiness, not in any particular order. But that's where that concept with that 5 almonds came from. So people travel from far and near to come and spend that special day with you, and you want them to leave with something to remind them of that special day. So when you're thinking of planning your wedding and putting everything together, this is a very important piece of that puzzle, is that detail, that last detail. What are people going to remember from your wedding? They'll remember the bride's dress, they'll remember the good food, they'll remember the music, and that extra little thing that they take away with them, whether it's something that they consume there that leaves a lingering taste in their mouth, or something that they actually take home with them to share or to show to others. So it's not an afterthought, it's a pre-thought, and it should be part of your entire planning process from the very beginning.
So what's the average timeline that they really should think about something if they're going to really personalize a gift? How far in advance should they be ordering a personalized gift?
Okay, so when I'm talking with gifts, I look at it as coming through 3 different categories. You have edible gifts, practical gifts, and eco-friendly gifts. If you're doing an edible gift, for example, you have some time. I would say no later than maybe 3 months to have the idea of what it is that you want to do. If you're looking at making custom cookies, for example, with your photos on them, you might want to have some samples made and then test them out yourself to see if you like that. If you're going to be doing cake pops, for example, you might want to sample those as well. If it's something where you need to imprint a logo, if your picture or anything on that, that also you have some lead time. So you need to have a good, I would say, 3 months for that process to happen. So don't leave it too late. But from the very beginning, as you're planning your wedding, if you want to do something that goes with your wedding theme, if you're having a beach wedding, you might want to do something, I don't know, give away a flip-flop notebook or something that ties into your theme. Just keep it in the back of your mind from the very beginning. So when you're getting closer to wrapping up all your details, it's not the very last thing. You've thought about it, and you can just kind of execute your plan within that 3-month time frame is what I think is a reasonable amount of time.
That's excellent advice, because I know all the time I'm getting that last minute request. Well, what should I get for my guests? I'm not really sure, what I should put on the tables. And a lot of people think about it as just a trinkets and trash thing that you're putting on the table. But when you're really looking at the symbolism that you explained to us about the what it actually comes from, what it stems from, it really makes it so that your appreciation is much more has a lot more meaning than just trinkets and trash.
Right. And you want people to walk away with the gifts. You don't want the things left on the tables because it had no meaning to them. But again, make it thoughtful. Make it something that means something to you as a couple. If you're giving away an edible favor, for example, honeys are very popular these days. How sweet it is to be married to my true love or whatever that is. If it's a family recipe, you might want to include that recipe card with the gift, a special note that says, this is from our kitchen. This was my Nana's recipe that we loved as a family, and we want to share that with you as we start our own new family. So make sure that whatever you do, whether it's edible or not, that you have a little personal touch to it, whether it's a ribbon with your date and names on it, or a card or a personal note. I'm very big on personal notes. That handwritten notes go such a long way. So whatever you do, make it unique, make it yours, but add your touch to it. You add your signature, or you put your stamp on it.
That's fantastic. And actually a great segue as well, because you mentioned that honey is really a hot tip right now. So what are some of the trends that are happening in favors that people are really jumping and gravitating to right now?
So I would say the favors kind of fall into 3 categories right now, which is the edible gifts, practical gifts, and eco-friendly gifts. Under the edible gifts, I've been doing a lot of cake pops lately, and the custom candy bars. And what we do with the candy bars is having the couple's picture on the wrapper, and you can do many different pictures that are kind of meaningful to the two of you. And then on the back of the wrapper, you have very cute ingredients, what makes your love special, and a special message to the couples. Candy buffets are also huge. So if you're doing a candy buffet, for example, why not fill it with your favorite treats and have a little takeaway box that people can actually leave with and take with them when they leave the wedding. Keep in mind also that just because somebody can make it to your wedding doesn't mean that you can't send a favor to them as well, so they can feel that they were part of that special day. So you got to be thoughtful about what it is that you're doing. If you're doing edible as well, I highly recommend that you think local, think seasonal. Definitely, I live in California, so I wouldn't necessarily want to do chocolates in the summertime for a summer wedding. Maybe you can do a lemonade or some kind of a mix in a beautiful mason jar, or you can even have a custom ice cream made for your event with your favorite, special flavors, for example. So in the edible category, jams, jellies, cookies, candies are very popular. And going back to the whole history with the sweetness, the sweet treats are a symbol of the sweetness of the marriage. That's why that sweets are so popular in that category. Under the practical gifts, journals are huge. Tumblers, beverage containers with your initials on it, something that people can reuse, that every time they pick it up they might think about you, something that stays in their home with them. That's a nice little gift. If you're doing a destination wedding, for example, you might want to have luggage tags with your message on it, maybe your favorite quote, something that's meaningful to you. And that's why I really keep talking and stressing about the personalization and the uniqueness of your gift. Make it authentic, make it you, because it's a piece of you that you're giving to your friends and family to take away with them. Eco-friendly, a lot of plants. Succulents are huge. And the nice thing about using these kinds of gifts is you can also use them as your place settings at the tables that people can take with them as well. So lots of plants are very big in the trend. And another trend that some people really like and some people really don't like is the donations to charities that the couples favor. So it's a that's a whole other discussion on that one. So whatever it is, like I said, it's got to be something that's meaningful to you. You can look at all the trends that are out there, but what if it doesn't mean anything to you? Then it reflects what you give to your guests. So I was at a wedding not too long ago, and it was beautiful location. Food was okay. The favor were little matchboxes that were literally just thrown at the place settings on each table, and it was really, it was clearly an afterthought. So you don't want that to happen to you.
Yeah, definitely not. After you've spent all of this money on your dress and your shoes and the venue and the food and your place settings and your table settings and your centerpieces, everything needs to flow together. So don't waste your money and put, last minute items on the table. Definitely put some thought into it so it really flows all together.
Yes.
So when it comes to the number of items that you're ordering and things that when it gets down to that time to really place that order, how should bride approach it? Should they think about it as a couple, as a family, as just per individual person who's there? How do you approach that number?
That is really up to the couple themselves. You got to consider a couple of things. Keep your budget in mind. That's very important. But also, when you're doing with edible gifts, for example, it's nice to have individual gifts when it's edible, an edible item. Cake pops, for example, or candy bars is nice for each person to have their own to take with them. If you're doing something like a picture frame or a plant or something in that area, then it's okay to do a couple's gift. And also make it clear that it's a couple's gift, especially if it's a gift that you're leaving maybe on a table for people to pick up and walk away with. Make sure if you're personalizing it with the couple's name, or just make it clear, please enjoy one gift per couple or per person. You need to specify and make that clear, because people will assume and walk away with maybe more than one. And by all means, always have extras. Always have a few extras. It's not. It's better to have a few extras than not have enough for your guests. Then you have a little bit of a disappointment there. And if you have,
that's always a rule of thumb they give you when it comes to ordering your invitations. So they usually tell you to order about 5 to 10 extra invitations. Yes. So what would you suggest as the gift person or the favor person? What would you suggest as a good number to add on to as an extra safety net?
A good number is, I would say, 5 to 10, depending on what it is that what you're getting. If it's something that's very specific and it's very expensive, then you might want to limit the number of extras that you order, maybe 5 extras. But if it's something edible, such as the honey or the cake pops, or a dozen extra is not going to break your budget, but it would certainly make a difference if you had that many extra people that you wanted to give something to. And sometimes when you're ordering, in bulk, you get a price break when you order more. So it's better to have a little extra that you can, mother of the bride might want to have 1 or 2 extra things to take with her for family or friends, or that auntie who couldn't make the trip but you want to send a favor to. So you got to keep all those things in mind, and definitely it's better to have even a few extra than not have enough.
And then, of course, you mentioned that you already mentioned it, but I was going to say, of course, there is that out-of-town guest who wasn't able to make it, and being able to send them that favor even though they weren't there. When you are ordering favors, do you need to keep your vendors in mind? Should they be getting favors?
You could send them a note for sure, and you could also send them a favor if you have that kind of a relationship with them as well. It's not mandatory, but it's certainly a nice gesture. And my favorite quote of all times is that it's better to give than it is to receive, because giving starts the receiving process. So you want to build a relationship with your vendors constantly, and you want to remind them that you're there and you want to work with them and in the future. So I think a little gesture such as including them on that is a nice touch. Definitely is a nice touch.
Good piece of advice. I had that come to me a couple times by brides, and they ask, well, do I have to include them in my favors? No, you don't have to include them, but it is always nice to give when you have the ability to do such, because they are doing work for you and they are helping you with your day.
Yes.
So let's transition a little bit here, and let's talk about the bridesmaids or your bridal party in general. You've got the guys who, what the heck do you get for them? That's my hardest one. What the heck do you get for the guys in a bridal party? We can talk about the girls afterwards. Let's talk about the guys right now.
Okay, so for the guys, you know how hard it is for guys to, just the thought of shopping for somebody it's a nerve-wracking experience.
It's
so the best way It is petrifying. So the best way to approach that is, number one, be yourself. You know your guys. They're very simple. They're not looking for anything extravagant. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. I have a very fun gift which I call the groomsman's kit, and it's putting together something that's meaningful to the guys. You know, the guys might be maybe he's a college classmate, and they have something that's unique to them, a sorority or something that's special to them. Include that in the gift. You can get them some cool, funky socks that either says, you know, groomsman or something of that nature on there. We've done beer mugs. Socks are, like I said, very cool socks are really, really, really cute and kind of cool. The groomsman survival kit, and this is the fun one that I've done in the past, is getting a shaving and shower bag where they think it's got shaving kit in there, but then you fill in all the cool things that you want them to have. Playing cards or some kind of a gag gift, that's something that means something to you boys. These are your boys, so make it meaningful. It's always going to be something that means something. It could be one little thing that when your buddy opens that gift up, he's going to have a good laugh and say, oh, that's really cool, and remember you by. So keep it simple. It doesn't have to be anything complicated. It could be a deck of cards. It could be a special pen. If you're golfing buddies, it could be, you know, a monogrammed item as well for the boys. So.
Yeah, one of my favorites that I've seen recently as a trend is the superhero shirts that all the boys are wearing underneath, and then they all can be their superhero for the day. I think that one's absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
Superman socks could also work, as you were saying, with the really cool trended socks. And I love the idea of how it's presented being just as important as what the gift is itself. So you may not have a shaving kit, as you said, but the way it's presented is, it is a shaving kit, but here's the cool stuff that I'm adding into it.
Exactly. And I mean, you want people to leave with something that they're going to look at later and go, oh, that was from so-and-so's wedding, and then remember how much fun they had, and always make it memorable. And yeah, the t-shirts are also really big, so you can pick a theme as well for that, and you know, plaster that on the t-shirts. There was one that the father of the groom was so excited because he got one too, and he said, you know, I'm the dad, and you know, I'm the whoever, or you know, hashtag cool buddy, you know, and make it interesting.
Very awesome. Yeah. So, all right, we'll talk about the girls now, because again, it is challenging for anyone to buy for someone else. It doesn't really matter who you are. I know that even for me, it can be sometimes hard gifting for my brides, because I always want to make sure that my brides know that how much I appreciate them and how much I appreciate working with them. So I know it can be a challenge just for me. But when it comes to the girls buying for the girls, it's generally jewelry. So what else can we do as an option?
Well, I will tell you, jewelry is pretty pretty old school right now.
It is.
This is where listening comes in to play, because when you listen, you generally find the answers you're looking for. And here's the thing: there are no rules when it comes to the gifting. So there is no written rule that says you have to give every person in your bridal party the same gift. If I know you, and I know that you love exotic teas, for example, I could present you with a beautiful teacup with an array of these fabulous teas that I know that you will enjoy and it would mean something to you when you're having that tea. If I know that my other bridesmaid loves journaling, how about a gorgeous pen and a beautiful journal for her? There are no rules that say that you have to give each person in your bridal party the exact same gift. I would consider spending the same amount of money, but not necessarily the same gift for them. So when you listen, you hear something that means something to them that would be that is special. So keep that in mind. If you know your girls, you know what they like, give them something that is that special. If you want to do jewelry, maybe do a charm bracelet and get charms that have an adjective or something that represents each one of your girls, that each person walks away with that bracelet that has that one charm of what you think about them. So just get creative with it.
Yeah, that's actually one of my favorites. There's also a jewelry company called Owly or something along that line that does charm necklaces, which is kind of a cool concept. But even doing the charm bracelets, what I like is that each of them has the same one, so that represents your wedding day for each of your girls. And then there's something about your past, how you met.
Yes.
Maybe you grew up in elementary school together, and so you get a little red apple or an apple that goes with that represents
Right.
that kindergarten principal. Or then on top of that, maybe one of the girls you've danced with, and so you get a little ballet slipper that goes on hers. So each of them are unique in themselves because it really does, again, put your personality into it and also make sure that they know that you're really thinking about them and putting them first.
Absolutely. And one other really fun thing in our so fabulous digital world is actually creating a USB with special memories of you and each person in your bridal party with a special message that says, Leah, remember when we did this, that, and that, and that, you're so special to me, and putting some of those pictures on there, maybe some songs that you guys had some good times to, and just creating maybe a playlist or a digital album and presenting that to your bridal party. That's something that they're going to keep with them for a very long time and remember you and always think about that, those special moments. So again, it's about that personalization and that uniqueness, and just that putting yourself into that gift makes all the difference.
It's like the old school mixtape version of it's the updated version of the mixtape. You can create your own soundtrack for the life of you and your best friend, or the life of you and your bridesmaids, which is kind of a really cool idea. That's something new for me. I haven't thought about that one.
Yeah.
That's great. So I know that you also help brides with the out-of-town guest gifts. So sometimes they'll have guests that are coming in and you want to give them a little extra special treatment, especially when they're traveling from out of the country. But even if you're just traveling out of the state, what kind of suggestions do you have when it comes to those things? And I know you gave me some information, so I'm actually going to share my screen here, guys.
Okay. So first of all, what would your wedding be without your family and friends there to share that special day with you? You would have nothing. So when people travel from so far away to come spend that time with you, you want to show them that appreciation and thoughtfulness. So one way you can do this is by making sure that when they check into the hotel that they have a small gift in the hotel room. It could be a very small gift basket with information, a little note, personalized note from you, thanking them for coming and looking forward to spending this time with you. You can definitely have some water. Water in the mini bars are very expensive, so guests really appreciate a few bottles of water in there. Some local snacks, that's always a big hit. Something that's local to your state, to your neighborhood that they can enjoy. Snacks, you can put in some, I don't know, Advil or anything for those headaches that pop out at these occasions. And definitely the information on what's going to be happening for that weekend of the wedding, and a local map, some local things that they can enjoy while they're here for your wedding weekend. If they have kids, it's really, really nice to do something for the kids as well. It could be a coloring book, it could be bubbles, it could be anything, but just showing that you took that extra time to create something special for them, it makes all the difference in the world. It makes that experience even more richer for them when they're here spending that time with you. Okay, so this is a VIP basket which has a local magazine on what to do in the area. It has all local fare in there. So there's some popcorn made right here in SoCal, Southern California. There's some saltwater taffy, because that's one of the things we have here. Some amazing pistachios, some iced tea packets that for the summer you can do the iced tea, and then in the winter we would do the hot cocoa that is made right here. There's some pretzels and definitely some water. One of the fun finds that I have out here, which I really love to include in all my gifts, is a little passport. It's called the California Passport, and it has information about our state flower, our state bird. It tells you all about California. It's actually really cool souvenirs for people to take back to them when they leave the state from enjoying their wedding celebration here with you. So that's one of our larger gifts that has all things made in California, and definitely water as well.
And this would be something that you would have for the guest coming in from out of town?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. You want me to head on to the next one here?
Yes, sure.
Okay, go ahead.
So this shows you the different varieties of gifts that we offer on here. You just showed us that VIP welcome gift basket. We also do the custom wedding welcome gift basket, which would have, as I said, the information from your wedding. It would also have a couple of personalized gifts in there for your specific event. So we'd have the customized water bottles. We'd have a customized candy bars in there as well. And then a few snacks. Could be the popcorn and some nuts and some cookies. We're a beach town, so we generally include a sun-shaped cookie, or if it's summertime, we might have a flip-flop shaped cookies in there as well. And that's comes in that open box. And then we have the other one, which is the closed box, which we would customize to your wedding colors for your guest. The nice thing about all of these gifts is they come in very pliable containers, so you could fold up the bag for one thing. You could also collapse the boxes if you wanted to take it with you, because when you do a traditional basket, people generally can't stick that into their luggage. So it's nice to have something that's portable that they can just collapse and take with them as part of their souvenirs when they leave. And that's all local products made right here in California. So the last thing on there is what I call, it's the Taste of California little drawstring bag. Then the other thing you can do with these gifts is you can have a custom ribbon printed with your information on it and a welcome message. Always add a welcome message. It's just so nice to have a little note that says, "Dear Leah, thank you so much for flying from Chicago to be here for our special wedding weekend. We look forward to spending this special time with you. Here's something small to make you stay comfortable."
I love it. I am so inspired by these things. They're so great.
You want to have something that's easy, that people can just consume the products and maybe take the containers with them. So you want to have things that you can fold up easily and put away. You can see the California passport, as I said, is my favorite item to include in all the gifts. Now, these chocolate truffles that we have they are called over the top for a reason. They truly are over the top. They are amazing. And that's also a great little favor, not just for your out-of-town guests, but a great wedding favor in itself, because you can have them in the little truffle box with your wedding colors, and then have a ribbon printed with your logo and your names and wedding date on there. The Kids Fun Pack is the small example there, which has the California-shaped the cookies. You've got a sun cookie and a beach ball cookie, and then it's got some bubbles. They get the passport, and just something fun for the kids to do. And then once again, every time you take a few minutes to personalize something, or that you're thinking of your family and your friends, it makes it all the more special. It makes them feel that, wow, this was great. We took the time to come out, and they really appreciate us being here, and we feel good about this. So always, it doesn't matter how small or how large the gift is, add your personal touch. That's what makes it what it is. Add that personal touch. It doesn't have to be anything complicated. It could be as simple as a handwritten note. It could be anything, but just add that personal touch to it.
And again, it is a lot in the way in which you present it. It doesn't necessarily have to be something elaborate, but in the way in which you present it can make it completely special. Cookies are cookies, right? But you make it into a beach ball in a star shape, and the kids go crazy over it.
Exactly. And you can do the cookies with your photos on them. I don't know. You can do your wedding date. You can do pretty much whatever you want with personalization these days. You just have to decide what it is that you want, and of course, how much do you want to spend, which is the nice thing about custom gifting. You get to decide. It's not decided for you. You get to choose exactly what you want to spend, and how you want it presented, and voila, it's done.
So while we're on the spending amount, what kind of ballpark should a bride, I mean, we've got two more, I think we have 2 more pages here. I know we had 1 more at least. What kind of cost should brides be considering when it comes to items for their guests?
That is the $1 million question.
Isn't it though?
Yeah, it really is. And I think if you start with keeping your gifting as part of your budget from the very beginning, then you can really plan ahead. if you wait to the last minute, then you're going to run out into trouble where you're either A, going to end up spending more than you want to, or B, you're going to end up doing some tchotchkes that you don't really like, but you're doing it just because. Case in point, the matchbooks thrown on the table. So depending on your budget for your wedding, you can do anything from as small as a $5 per person gift to a $15, $20 per person gift item. So again, as I said, it's really, really up to you how much you want to spend, but give yourself a little, you know, a little window of saying, okay, I'm going to spend anywhere from 5 to 15, again, depending on the size of your wedding and the kind of budget that you have. But I think $5 is a minimum that you might spend on any gift.
Okay, so that's pretty much the ballpark to start in when it comes to what we're expecting for our guests. Because of course, we're not working with, you know, the less experience. The more time that you're taking with your guests, the more
Yes.
thoughtfulness you're putting into something. Yes, it may cost you a little bit more money, but it also does have a lot more meaning and goes a lot longer and further for that particular guest.
And it'll leave a lasting impression. A lasting impression. Like I said, you don't want at the end of the night to see everything left on the table because people thought, wow, this is cheesy. But you want people to actually, months or weeks later when you see them, to actually say, wow, this is what I got from Leah's wedding. It was so great. I have it sitting on my mantle, or I enjoy watching my succulent grow, and that was from Leah's wedding, or what have you. So you want to be thoughtful about it.
Or even worse yet, it ending up in the trash. Because
Yes.
I read several articles where like, oh, you don't need to spend money on favors because they just end up in the trash. Just ask your venue. Well, the ones that end up in the trash are the trinkets and trash that you picked up because you waited to the last minute to actually pick out your wedding favors.
Exactly. So plan ahead. Keep it, you know, include it as part of your planning process. Don't leave it to the last minute.
Definitely. So what other kinds of suggestions or places can people go? I mean, obviously we can come to your website, which is what?
CelebrateSweetly.com.
And do you work with brides all over the country and out of the country, or do you strictly work with brides in California?
Actually, no. I've shipped favors to the UK and across the country. So yeah, we ship nationwide, and we ship internationally as well. So yeah, there are lots of options out there for you. Again, it's for you to decide what is it that you want to do. If you want to do something edible, I always recommend doing something local, or making sure that if it's something that's going to be shipped to you, that it's something that's going to arrive in the same state that you expect it to be in. But it's always fun to find local fare that is really something means something to you. If you're doing cookies or cakes or jams and jellies, isn't it great to say, well, this jam was made right here in let's say Ojai, for example, because Ojai, California has some amazing lavender fields. So it could be maybe a lavender jam that was made from the lavender that was picked from so-and-so's farm right out here, and then give a little recipe on how to use that lavender jam for maybe a special breakfast for themselves, and think about you when they're enjoying that breakfast. So look for some interesting local fare that especially people who are coming from out of state can take with them, and take a little taste of California with them when they leave. That's always fun.
Definitely. Here in Michigan, especially in the fall, we have a lot of cider that goes as gifts because we have such a plethora of apple cider. So you find that brides will do the caramel apples from Michigan. They will do the hot apple cider or cider mixes that they can give away.
Right.
Then there's also we get into a whole other area when we do the after hour kind of treats, but you can create the treat bags with the hot apple cider, and of course we do the mini donuts that are made fresh here as well. So I love the fall weddings because we can do things that are that creative and really introducing people to something that they don't know. I actually have friends who moved out here about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, who are from California, and they had never had apple cider.
Wow.
So that is definitely one of those things that we're like, yay, we have something that you don't. And so we can share our apple cider. And that's so all of you Michigan brides, that is definitely one thing that you can share with your guests, especially in the fall, because of course that's the best time to get it. When it comes to I'm so sorry. I had a question in my head and I got sidetracked on my own tangent that I totally forgot what I was talking about or what I had a question on. What other pieces of advice would you give a bride when it comes to picking out a gift, maybe not necessarily for the bridal party, but maybe a thoughtful gift for mom and dad for helping them out with their day?
Oh, let me tell you, the number one thing that I always recommend to start with for moms and dads, start with a letter. A love letter to mom, a love letter to dad, telling them all the things that make them special and how important they are to you. And write it, if you're going to print it on some beautiful paper. Frame it if you want to, or put it in a little treasure chest, little treasure box with something. Make it so special that mom can pick up that letter, unfold it, and read it and feel those emotions every single time. And then read that letter to her before you give that letter to her. So love letters to parents are one of my all-time favorite things to give, because it's a gift that's straight from the heart. It doesn't always have to be something material, but those kinds of gifts are the best kinds of gifts to give to mom. Again, with mom, you can do a piece of jewelry, something that's significant, because usually you get your first piece of jewelry from mom and dad. So how special is it to maybe give mom something with her birthstone, or something engraved with a message to mom, or just something, make it very thoughtful and meaningful to her, that she can look at it any time and go, that was a very special day. And fathers and daughters, what can I tell you? That bond is so strong and so special. And do your gifts to the parents really early, please, because you don't want tears. And if you're doing it on the wedding day, do it first thing in the morning so you get it out of the way before you put on your makeup, because it is a tear-jerking moment for all involved, dads especially. So I would also write a love letter to dad, and expressing how you feel about him, and maybe get a special pen engraved for him, because dads like to write, or even create a little montage of our special moments together as well, whether it's in a book format, a photo book format, or digital format. But it's really capturing some of those special moments that you have with your parents. Those are the kinds of meaningful gifts that I think really, really go a long way and have a long-lasting effect with our parents. So I love those kinds of gifts for parents.
Now, of course, we have a wide range of brides culturally that are also watching with us. So do you have any suggestions for different things that cross cultures, or introducing like one half of the family? Because personally, we do a lot of fusion weddings, so we have mixed marriages. Do you have any ideas that are really great to have as favors that could also be an introduction to the other culture?
Oh, I think if you're doing the cross-cultural is always a great opportunity to start with. Making sure that if there's something that's significant that maybe the other side of the family doesn't know about, something that you can either write and put it in maybe a gorgeous box, maybe a jewelry box, if it's maybe an Indian wedding or so, with one of these gorgeous ornamental boxes, maybe to a future mother, to your mother-in-law. I would get her one of those gorgeous boxes with a note on, you know, how happy you are to be a part of the new family, and that you want to share a bit of your culture with her, and give her something that's significant and that's meaningful. I think that's a good starting point to introduce them to that culture. One of the nice things about when you give the edible gifts, such as if giving away some teas and cookies, that essentially is also an invitation to a future gathering, or an invitation to dinner, essentially, is what that could be as well. So you can do maybe a beautiful tea arrangement, an assortment of teas, for example, if that person is not familiar with the culture, and then maybe write a little note that says, looking forward to tea time with you, on, you know, many tea times with you, as having tea is a great, you know, part of my culture that I want to share with you. And so I would incorporate those kinds of things in those but definitely every opportunity to share your culture. If it's a beautiful scarf and maybe there's a little story or a history behind it, I would share that story. So everything is about incorporating a little bit of a story in what it is that you give. So again, think about it, and if you know that, let's say your mother-in-law doesn't wear any jewelry, then it's pointless to give her jewelry. You can give her a jewelry box with the note or something in there, but know the person, listen to what they're saying as you're interacting with them, and give them something that shows that you actually heard them, or that you actually know a little bit about them and what's meaningful to them.
That's great advice. In addition to that, so not even just for the family members, which I wasn't even thinking about that, but that's actually a fantastic way to kind of smooth over some of those stressful moments that you have during your wedding planning with the other part of the family.
Yes.
For your guests, are there any particular favors that you've seen that have gone over really well with in cross-cultural kind of weddings?
Well, sweets, again, are huge. Because sweets, as I said again, is really talking about the sweetness of the marriage. And every time you give something edible, it's inviting people to your table, and it's sharing a part of your culture with them. So that's a big hit at all of these weddings. That's where the setup with the dessert bars also come into play, where you have people get a sampling of the different foods that you have in the culture that you might want to share with them. If it's maybe there's a little storybook that talks about, I mean, I just told you about the California passport, for example, that talks about all the things California. Maybe it's a little guide or a little booklet on the country, or so that you want to share with them. A little taste of, let's say, a little taste of India. Maybe it's some special spices or that you want to bring to them. So definitely bring your guest into your world, into your new world, with a little, it could be a little satchel, little pouch, or little box with something that they can take home with them and go, oh, we get to try a little, we get a little taste of India, or a little taste of Korea or whatever with us here. So just take some time to think about, who your guests are. Certainly, if you have guests coming to your wedding who are all non-alcoholics, you're not going to have, alcohol from every corner. You're going to make sure that you're serving non-alcoholic drinks, because you know your people. So it takes that little extra effort and time to go, I know my people, I know what's meaningful to them, and I'm going to make sure that whatever I give them matches that.
Sure. We were actually able to do, it's called Persian fairy floss, which is essentially like a cotton candy, but it's a little bit different. There's also a Chinese version, I think that's like dragon's tooth or something, where they really like stretch it out. So it is a way of introducing something sweet, and most people have no problem with something sweet. They'll eat it, even if it is foreign to them. But you can introduce new flavors and new things to them that they would not ever have had the opportunity to have otherwise.
Absolutely. You can, a recent wedding I did a couple of months ago, they actually just made different salts. They gave away little pouches of salt, and they made basil salt. It was a beach-themed wedding, so it was perfect. They just made some hibiscus salt, different kinds of salt, and guess what? When you're with a little recipe, when you're in the kitchen and you're making that fabulous dish and you sprinkle a little bit of that hibiscus salt on, you're going to think of them. So it's those little things that make a difference. Because
that's a really, really good point. I was actually just I had a bride from about 4 years ago, and I actually just opened up a jelly jar from her. And just used it. It was her favorite at her wedding, and her family members and her made it. It was a lavender blueberry mix. So yes, it has her name and her date on it, but I remember specifically because it was handmade by them, and it was something that was just very important to them to be able to share with their guests, to really bring that homey feeling to their wedding. That really, I'm taking care of my guests. And really, honestly, guys, that's what this is all about. It's not about what you're putting on the table. It's not about, you know, finding the most expensive gift you can to give away. It's not about blowing your budget. It's not about, you know, anything else you want to think about. It's not showing out how much money you have. Giving gifts is really part of the whole guest experience, and we've been talking about that all day long. We've been talking about how you can give your guests the best experience when they walk in the door, how you can create wow factors for them, and of course, when they head home, how can you give them that wow factor too? And that's what we've had Marilee here for today. And you know, later on today, we're actually going to be talking with Jasmine, who is going to talk about the very first guest experience that they have, which of course are your invitations. We also have our guest experience with our DJ and our MC, and how we can actually change our life there as well. Really quick before we close out here, I just want to, and I'm going to give you a chance to give them one piece of advice for the day of their wedding, whether it be leading up to their wedding or after their wedding or the day of. So think about that while I go through this really quick. Is that, you know, guys, we do have our $2,500 in prizes that we're giving away, and I really want to make sure that you're taking the opportunity to share with other people, because we are getting right down to the very end of this. And if you didn't have a chance to see the episodes on Friday, and if you haven't had a chance to watch the ones on Saturday because you're here watching us on a replay, we do have the opportunity for you to grab the full swag bag of all of the advice that you're getting from these wonderful, wonderful industry innovators. That swag bag is going to go up tomorrow. Well, actually, I might give it a couple more days. So we'll say we'll give you 3 days from today. So Wednesday, that price is going to go up. Right now, if you get that swag bag at the in-summit price, it's $197. You're going to get all of the recordings, all of the videos, all of the transcriptions, any of the handouts that anyone has given us for the process itself. So it's all at your leisure and all in your hands, so that you can actually refer back to it down the road, because we know it's in one ear, out the other, because we have so much that's inundating our lives. So if you heard a great tip and you didn't get a chance to write it down, we do give you the opportunity to get all of these at $197 for the next 3 days. So on Wednesday, this price is going to go up. It's going to go up to the regular price, which is $297. All right. Are you ready? You got one last tip for us?
Well, once again, it's about being a good listener. It's about planning ahead. Plan, 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 plan. Don't wait till the last minute. Don't make your wedding favor an afterthought. Think about it ahead of time. Make it personal. Make it unique. Make it truly you. Make it something that's meaningful to you, and something that your guest will remember as a long-lasting impression and memory from your special day.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for joining us and talking about favors, because it's definitely not something that people talk about most often whenever you see anything. And I don't even think there's a one-liner in a wedding planning book on a favor.
I'll have to write the book now.
I actually think you need to write the book. I'm actually going to go and reference all my books right now to see if there is a single one-liner. And if it is, it's probably, oh, well, this is what you should do.
Right.
And that's the end of the story. There's nothing about listening to your guests or knowing who your guests are, things like that. So I'm so grateful for you sharing the information with us, and I am so excited about bringing this project to all of you brides and having this as a great deliverable for you and a learning session for you. So say goodbye.
Bye, Leah. Thank you.
Bye, ladies. It was such a great day. We'll see you later this afternoon.
Okay, take